And on today's episode, we have Bodie Smith, the Hope Catalyst. On this episode, she will be taking off her catalyst hat and talking about her journey as being a mom and a grandma. Welcome to The Woman I Am Today, the podcast. I am your host, Kimberly Giss, and on today's episode, we have Bodie Smith, the Hope Catalyst. On this episode, she will be taking off her catalyst hat and talking about her journey as being a mom and a grandma. We have her three beautiful daughters here, Constance, Rochelle, and Frederica. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
So, tell us your name, your age, and what your profession is.
My name is Constance Bodie. I am 32. I was about to say 29. That's why I took that pause. But I'm 32. And I am a full-time mother.
Okay.
My name is Rochelle. I am 34, and I am an associate director of operations for a public charter school in Washington, D.C.
My name is Frederica Smith. I'm 22 years old, and I am a lead K-3 teacher at a daycare.
Awesome. So, do you think growing up as a child of the Hope Catalyst has rubbed off on you?
A little bit. My mother is she loves to help people. Loves it. Even back in the hood, she used to do this thing called Back in the Hood. And so I think it was like
Back to the hood.
Back to the hood. Okay. So I think it was like annually, and like they would be like vendors and like the artists. Sometimes she would bring them out just like to get the community together, like celebrate each other, like that type of thing. So she's been doing it for as long as I can remember, because she was doing that Back to the Hood when I was in elementary school. So for as long as I can remember, she's always wanted to help people and in any type of way that she could. So I think that's rubbed off a little bit. I'm not gonna say friendly, but I'm not as...
You can probably say friendly.
I like to help people, but I just don't... I'm not a people person. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not a people person to the point where I could do it in the... in the aspect that she does it, but I try, I do what I can.
Yeah. You do what you can.
I do what I can.
I would probably say, if you ask somebody else, people would probably say I am my mother's child.
She has the heart of gold.
Yeah. That's sweet.
You do.
That means mommy has the heart of gold. But y'all cutting up. No. I don't know. She if I really think about it, I probably am like her. She took in someone in her home, adopted another sibling for us. I have adopted a child, just like she did. She has community events. I do that for a living now. I work in specific communities, just like my mom works in specific communities that need the most, hope and help. So it definitely rubbed off. Oftentimes, I don't like to admit that I am my mother's child and I do everything she does, but I think I do.
Rochelle, she'll make a U-turn.
Rochelle, actually, we were
I remember
on the way from her graduation to Johnson C. Smith,
and she made a U-turn to feed the homeless.
We had about 6 cars following us, and she was leading us, and so we didn't know where we were going back to her house afterward, and so we were following her, and she made a U-turn, and we thought we were going to her house. She made a U-turn to go stop and give somebody in the median, a homeless person, some money for food, and we all behind her like, what are you doing? And then we had to keep going, and we're like, wow.
Hard to go.
Don't do that now, because they're at every corner, and most of them, I think it's a hustle. So it's a big
It's not about them.
It's a pandemic right now. First off, so if anything,
It's more
people out there that need the help.
It's not about
them.
them. It's about
but you doing
Oh, it is about us. I agree, but I'm just saying that there are so many resources out there that a lot of times you have to be careful because you're seeing so many now. It just makes you wonder, really.
Because we just had a
help.
pandemic. And people lost their jobs.
Right, from the pandemic.
And they putting people out even though they're not supposed to be evicting people. They evicting people and doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah. I mean, that's just what I think. Maybe you're right. You never know.
Well, I'm gonna give them what they need. The heart of gold.
So, was your mother strict?
Well, let me just say this. I don't know why she's making noise.
I don't understand it.
I don't think I had it as bad, but it was a different.
I don't. Was strict the word? I don't know if strict is the word. I think we were very well disciplined. I don't want to say they're not good children, but I was a good child. So, so I don't know if she had to be strict with me per se. But we were very well disciplined. Yeah. So, what you have to say?
I don't think that I am not a good child. I think that I don't even think I was the typical teenager. I think I was a little bit better than the typical teenager, but I did get into a little more trouble than her. That's for sure. Like, she's like, I can't even.
A saint. I'm a saint.
I'm not gonna say you're a saint, but you're not like, you're not normal. So, I mean,
Ooh, that's
but I do think that we weren't as difficult as most people our age. But yeah, I got into a little more trouble than she did. But strict, yeah, I don't think strict is the right word for her. But she a little tough. She's tough.
I'm interested to know what strict is for you though.
Y'all don't think I would? I feel like because it was a new day and age, she just had to use different methods. She didn't use the same methods, but she just definitely. I have some stories. She's definitely
She's strict.
tough. I would.
Tough. We gonna go with
Tell us a story.
Yeah, but they know that you got away with more than they did.
She got away with a lot more.
That's why.
But you were also older, so that's
Right.
also different. She was older. It was.
There's a 10-year,
So you say strict.
12-year age gap.
I want to say strict, but you said that's how you said that.
Did you have a curfew?
wasn't able to really go anywhere.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I guess that was the difference because I didn't want to go nowhere, so I didn't necessarily have a curfew.
Yeah.
So when I did go somewhere, it wasn't like you need to be back in the house by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I never really went anywhere.
I didn't have a curfew either because I didn't go anywhere. I only went one place to my best friend's house on the weekends, and that was like their family. So my mom was like, you know, other than that, I never really wanted to go anywhere either. So
Yeah.
I think for us it was more so like when we was home, we kind of like
Had each other. I
Yeah.
didn't have anybody in the house. I think so. If I did want to leave out more, that's more why. Because I felt like an only child, even though I wasn't an only child.
And I think that had a lot to do with the fact that we had all those exchange students.
Yeah.
So while she was coming up, it was always somebody in the house. And then, you know, even when the sisters left, I had somebody else in the house. So when it was just us, she was like bored. Like,
Yeah.
man, I was like, wow. And then I had to think about it. I understand now when I became an empty nester, I figured it out. I was like, wow, I get it now. I'm in the house by myself. It's a big difference. So I kind of understood where you were coming from when that happened.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hi, this is Krista. Hey, if you see me sitting out under a nice shady tree during this time and you have your mask on, let's have a conversation. You know, right now in 2020, people are out of work and so much going on in their life that they need a plan B. And that's what I'm here to help you do. So I'm sitting out here waiting for a client, and we will be getting together just to have a little fresh air and talk about some options so she can have some flexibility. So if you see me, come on by. I'll be glad to give you one of my business cards, and we can talk. You know, I'm here for you. I'm a marketing consultant nationwide, and I'm happy to help you come up with another solution. It's Crystal Bodie Smith, and if you have never been to my website, please check it out. It's www.IamCrystalBodieSmith.com. We could talk about some flexible options for you right now during these challenging times. I would absolutely love to fit you in. I think I have some time on my schedule, because as you can see, it stays pretty full, but we can pencil you in. So I look forward to talking to you. Bye-bye.
Well, how was it dating y'all? How was it?
I didn't like bringing.
Ball was life for me. Basketball was life. So
I didn't date until I was in high school, but I wouldn't say I brought my with.
basketball was life.
I didn't. It was hard. I would say I didn't. I would bring them home, but I already knew it was $100.
A pet peeve was not knowing their name. When they would come in and say their nickname, I'm like, I can't pull up a nickname. You know, if we needed to go do a check or call the police, I can't give them a nickname. I need to know. I would ask them, young man, what did your mama name?
You run a background check?
You know?
Yes, you do.
Yep.
Daughters. I have daughters, Karen.
I understand.
Daughters.
I understand. So, what lesson have you learned from your mom? Like one good lesson that you've learned?
I would. You go.
You got it. You got it.
I would probably say never settle.
Yeah.
That can go in so many different ways. Like for men, for work, for like friendships, or just in general. Just don't settle.
I would definitely say that one lesson that I've learned is that it was right there.
You want me to go?
You can go ahead.
For me, I would say independence. She taught me you really can do it by yourself. You don't need a man, you don't need anybody. You can go out here and you can make it.
What would you like the world to know about Crystal Bodie Smith?
These questions get oh boy.
That she is a very caring and loving mother and grandmother, and she would do anything for her children and grandchild. Yeah, she will.
She definitely is caring. It's not a lot of people she honestly doesn't know, honestly, in this world.
That's true.
That doesn't already know the type of woman she is.
But if you don't know her, she will make sure
you know her by the end of that conversation. Definitely.
Yeah.
She'll say, Google me. That's her favorite saying. Google me.
That's funny.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
So I'm gonna turn you down for a minute because I can't have you with no empty flowers, bro. Man, I'll never forget the day he called me and he said, sis, they gave me 6 months to live. Whew. So I'm gonna show you a book I wrote because of this story. So as a result of this came Final Wishes. I took everything that I went through with Charles, Mom, and Dad, and I wrote it. When I tell you Final Wishes is a guide for transition from life to death, so guys, $9.99 on Amazon. It's the best $9.99 you can ever purchase. I just took some things, some simple stuff. Check it out. I even have pages in there where you can write a letter to your loved one. I have some very important things for business owners, so I'd like for you to check it out. And it's not about selling a book. It's about giving you peace of mind. It's about making sure you don't feel what I felt. That's why I wrote this book. Because I don't want nobody to go through what I went through. Please find out what your family's final wishes are. I'm telling you, it'll save you from the day you have to make a decision at the ER. It's so much easier.
Nope.
Okay, ladies.
Y'all let you.
Name one thing that you think your mother could be better at.
Communication.
Is this a? What is Sorry.
Communication. And the way your voice, your tone.
Okay.
Just as far as your relationship with your mom, what's the one thing that you think could be better at?
I think her tone and stuff have a lot to do with the fact that she's deaf in one ear. So that's something that she. Oh, sorry. I thought it was one thing.
It's like 30.
It's 30 and like 60.
Right on the right day. Yeah, I know what Rika's talking about, but I feel like that comes from because I know that she has like hearing issues. I let that stuff ride sometimes because I'm just like.
Well, I know when she's loud versus like being overbearing.
And that what parents do though? Don't you friends talk about that a lot with their parents?
Yes, but you can be overbearing. I feel like there's such thing as too overbearing.
Caring too much.
I'm gonna let you have that. Was your word. No, ma'am.
Is that what it is? Can't, well, it's just from a perspective of you at your age now? Are you saying as a child I was overbearing? Or you saying now that, now, not giving you the space?
Not, okay, maybe overbearing wasn't the word.
Can I? Yeah, let me just. I'm probably gonna say be a little more considerate, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna just say that.
Be more considerate how?
You want to get beat up.
All right. We're gonna change her name from Kim to Ayana.
Jesus. Probably just take into consideration that, yeah, you are still our mom, but like we grown now, so we got stuff happening in our life. So like we have priorities of our own. Not to say what you got going on is not a priority, but we have priorities. So consider that, and then we can consider your priorities. Like if we're both considerate, we can make some things work.
I think that's good, but you know what, Kim? I think it's a different generation. Because when we came up, it didn't matter what we had going on. If our parents wanted something, it didn't matter.
Can I ask a question?
Even at any
So
age.
can I ask a question though?
Even at 30.
This is not gonna get too deep. We ain't gonna go deep in. Jeez. So okay. So for Connie, because she's a mom, that's the top priority, I think. Nothing I can think of right now for me is the top. But she's a mom, and so like her son has to be in school tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So is it a priority for her to like put her son in bed, or is it a priority for her to be here? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't.
Bedtime is 8:30.
It's just an example. We're not gonna go too deep. So I was just like, yeah, it is a different generation, but I don't know. Look, I'm here. I'm sitting here. I don't live up the block. You know what I'm saying? I live 4 hours away.
Well, I don't mean that.
It's just an example.
That example, of course, things happen. So when things happen, then you adjust. So we always have to be able to not make excuses, but make adjustments. All I'm saying is when it comes to
you
parents,
always have to make the adjustments. Just because you are a parent doesn't mean you can't make some adjustments for us. I'm not saying you don't and haven't, because you have.
That's a great. I like that.
I think that's a very good point. But I just want all parents to understand and all children to understand. it works both ways. But there is something that I think this generation, I think the millennials and the Gen X don't understand, that the baby boomers and those that came before you understood. It's a difference. It's a different level. It's like when we came up, if your parents called and needed something, you dropped what you were doing and you went and you.
Mom, it is.
I think it's different. I think
it's very
I'm
different.
not saying it's wrong. I'm just
It's
saying
different.
it's just different. Wouldn't you agree? It's different.
I think it's very different. I still think that parents should understand when you have adult children that they do have lives and
Right.
things that they have to put to the forefront of their lives to take care of. And I feel like some parents don't understand it because whatever their need is, they want it done right now.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you have going on
We should drive over.
can wait.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can't. And I think that parents have to understand that. And I think that children should just the same understand as, when it's something really important and mom needs me, that I'm going to get it done. But mom still has to understand that we going to get it done.
Yeah.
Might not be exactly when you want to get it done,
Yeah.
but we're going to get it done. I think that should be an understanding on both parts because,
Right. I
If
agree.
it's an emergency.
And it took me a while to get there.
yeah.
It took me a while to get that understanding because of how I came up. It took me a while to get there.
It's still a work in progress.
I'm still
Yeah.
a work in progress. I'll admit
I
that.
said we're. See what I did there?
I think we all are.
That's what I said.
Yeah, we are.
See,
I'll
communication.
accept
Communication,
Yes.
consideration. There we
Yes.
go. You gotta see words.
Communication and consideration in 2020 is what we're doing.
Collaborate.
Collaboration. Yeah, collaborate and make it all work together.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
Collaborate in the house just like we collaborate in the community, right?
Yeah.
That's true. And I think that is true. I learned things out there when I was out there in the community that I had to come back home because sometimes we go out. I never forget when I used to do so much back when I was really, really active with Word of God. And I'll never forget when my ex was like, you just can't be doing all this. Like because a lot of people in the church they doing all this stuff, but their children are hungry. And their house is a mess. So I thank goodness my house wasn't a mess and my children were hungry. But there were some things that I needed to do, and there were some times when I needed to say, no, I can't do that today. I can't do that activity because I need it there. And it took me a while to get that balance. But again, that's a lesson. People need to know balance.
Mhm. And so, as a mom, you understand that. And because you're a mom, you understand that, okay, when she has to take care of whatever it is with her child, you understand because you've been there. And so, this is a lesson for, all moms and children. My mom has 3 girls as well, so I understand, I get it, and how challenging things can be and communication can be off. But when you actually sit down and communicate and listen to one another, actually listen and not waiting so you can say what you've been wanting to say the whole entire time and not listening to what the person is saying, communication, it helps. Tone and being aware and being mindful that we're all adults and we all have things that are important to us and we have to respect that.
That's right.
So I really enjoyed this session, ladies. Are there any closing remarks or anything that you would like to say to your mom or to the audience?
Oh, that's so
Oh, that was
sweet.
sweet. I love you. I love you too.
That is.
Good.
You had to be class.
I mean, I ain't gonna say nothing. Ain't
Right.
That was like, is it?
Sincere.
No.
No, I will say in closing, I think this was good. It's funny you said you got a red tablecloth, so we sitting at a red table.
Oh, yeah.
I do feel like I'm
Watch out,
sitting at a red
Jake.
table today. And it is funny because I tell my mom all the time, we probably sit down and talk about some of the stuff we done been through in life. And this is like the first time we've sat down at a table and talked about some stuff. So this was like an avenue we haven't taken, but we should have probably taken for today. Interested to see if we sit down at another table.
and that's okay. And I did it public.
Yeah.
They sometimes like, Mom, you so transparent. I realize that's my calling. My calling is to heal somebody else. I'm going to get healed too. We all going to get healed, but that's just who God made me. You know what I'm saying? So I publicly tell you, yeah, we probably should have sat down early on some things, but it's never too late to keep sitting down. But a lot of times it's hard to get y'all to sit down. Look what I had to go through to get y'all to sit down today.
Well, Father, we made it. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you,
Jesus.
God. See the collaboration?
Yeah.
You see the collaboration?
Yeah.
Thank you, though. Really, thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you guys for joining me. Crystal, is there anything that you would like to say to your beautiful
Yeah,
daughters?
I just want to say, the reason why I wanted people to really understand, there's sides of me that people don't know. I love family. I'm all about family. I'm about community, but I'm about family too. And just want people to know who my daughters were. You know what I'm saying? To let them see who they are. You got to see a little bit of their personality. You know who the jokester is. You can tell. And
Okay.
it's all about, I can't be telling people keep hope alive if I don't keep my hope alive. And the only way I can keep my hope alive is to keep their hope alive, And so I wanted to do this as a way, like she said, inadvertently, it helped them. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes as parents, we have to be willing to do things differently. And this was different. And I thank you, because with your platform, it attracted me to want to do this. You understand what I'm saying? Because I know that with, new visions and the quality of what y'all do, and then I knew I couldn't do it by myself. I couldn't sit down and have questions and ask them this. But, we've had to bring it to someone else, and we wanted to be professional, and you helped us to carry it out. So I thank you so much. And I hope that somebody listening out there that y'all got something out of this, really, because if you don't have to get a camera to come in, but sit down with your children. And don't wait till they get 32, 34, 22. Because they are really listening and they're hurting and they're missing some things. So go back and have a conversation with them. And we have to do some active listening, parents. Don't wait too long.
I agree. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of The Woman I Am Today. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Join The Woman I Am Today, the podcast and TV show, as I sit down with prominent women in every industry to discuss their brand, movement, and the women they are today. The Woman I Am Today, the podcast, invites deep conversations and a safe place to let the world know what you've been through. If you're interested in being a guest, please send us an email at nvtv4L@gmail.com or call 919-866-2190.